Good evening, everyone. Backseat drivers. Episode number 13. Unlucky for some, probably unlucky for all of you guys because you've only got me to put up with for the however long this lasts for tonight. Would like a lot of viewer questions. Unfortunately, all the guys who are normally here with me, life has got in the way, I suppose. I'm probably the only one that has nothing better to do on a Thursday night and can just do this willy-nilly for you guys. I thought I'd start off with a little, seeing as though it is episode 13, a little bit of a look at the number 13. Not very used in motorsport terms, obviously, because it is considered unlucky. Look at it. Apparently a lot of NASCAR guys... there we go. The first comment there from Andrew, running solo, but I do like the hat. Thank you. Another Walkinshaw one. Kind of looks a little bit like a Brad Jones one nowadays, seeing as though Bryce Fullwood changed camps this year. It's the last of my Holden Commodore kind of ones. The rest are all on the Ford side of the equation for next time. So anyway, back on the number 13. People don't really use the number 13 because it is considered unlucky. It's only been used once. Prior to Pastor Maldonado, it's only been used once in Formula One. I've got some notes here. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but Moises Solana. It was in the Mexico Grand Prix in 1963. He drove for BRM. He qualified 11th, and he's classified as finishing 11th, but his engine failed 8 laps short of the checkered flag. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not a finish. He did go on to compete in another 7 Grand Prix in his career, but never used the 13 again. There was another occasion in 1976 when Davina Galicia, she attempted to qualify for the Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch in a Surtees. She failed to qualify, so obviously didn't make an appearance there. Pastor Maldonado, though, probably the most famous guy in Formula One to run the number 13. He jumped on board when the drivers could actually pick their numbers for 2014. Actually, it was the first year. So previously, if anyone is actually interested, before that, the teams had the numbers, which was run essentially off the Constructors' Championship positions from the year before. So the winning driver would get number 1 and his team would then get 1 and 2, and then obviously the winner of the Constructors' Championship would either get that 1 and 2 usually, or then 3 and 4, and then down the road they went until Minardi got kind of the last numbers back in those days. They finished last most of the way through when that number system was working, because I think it started in 95. Previously, it was just a bit of a mess. Like Ferrari always had 27, 28. Tyrrell was always 3 and 4. Anyway, so for 2014, the guys, all the drivers got to pick their own numbers. So Pastor Maldonado, being Pastor Maldonado, he picked the lucky number 13. Now, the best bit about this, it coincided because he cracked the sads with Williams because his results there were shocking in 2013, and he was paying a lot of money to Williams. So he jumped on board Lotus because they were pretty much the second best team to Red Bull over the 2013 championship. Of course, they had the big rule change to the turbocharged engines and that for 2014. And that was where Lotus was lumped with that Renault engine, and they went backwards, and Williams made the switch from Renault to Mercedes, and they kind of jumped to the front. So it was kind of funny that Pastor had left Williams because they were doing so badly, and then he went to Lotus where they went, from front of the grid to the back of the grid straight away. his best results with the number 13 were a triplet of seventh positions in 2015, which, funnily enough, they then Renault they switched to the Mercedes engine for that 1 year, and then I think it was 2015 when they were bought out by Renault again, and then obviously Pastor got the flick because they didn't need his billions and billions of well, it wasn't quite billions. He wasn't a Canadian billionaire, but he did have a lot of money from PDVSA, which is the Venezuelan oil company. And yes, Graham there, number 8 is very, like, you always see the Chinese driving around with their 888 number plates and things like that. They place a lot of basis on the number 8 being lucky. So it's hard with no one else having a chat. If you have any questions, this is the time to jump in, because if I run through these notes by myself, we're probably going to be finished very early tonight. The big news this week, Alexander Rossi, it's been confirmed that he has signed with Arrow McLaren SP, or SPAM, as Marshall Pruitt calls them. So in the notes here, we've got Pato he signed up there for 3 years. We're not sure how long the Rossi deal is. They're talking about running 3 cars, we assume, next year, and possibly Rosenqvist is not a lock for that 3rd car. The rumours flying around at the moment, anyone, VK and Pillow are both guys that are out of contract that, they're potentially talking to. I don't get the impression that Pillow would jump ship from Ganassi just because McLaren are coming along with big checkbook. I would imagine that Rossi has gone across for a big payday, which would probably make him one of the top earning guys in IndyCar for that. But yeah, after the result on the weekend, a little bit interesting going from, but McLaren have definitely been looking better than what Andretti have, and over the last couple of years, just pretty much it's only been Herder that's been doing any good there at Andretti. So I can see why Rossi wants to move, although Herder hasn't been a dream for him to try and take on. I don't think Pato O'Ward is going to be that much easier for him to take on next year. He's definitely not going to be a pushover. All right, here we go, Gibbo. Charles for the win in Baku. I'm thinking, because of that really long main straight there, I think it's probably going to be a Red Bull track. They've essentially changed what they do this year. They've always, I suppose, had more downforce and been slower in a straight line. That's been basically all the way through. They haven't quite worried about straight line. They've been more about overall lap time. This year they seem to have really focused on that straight line kind of speed, and I think that's going to pay dividends for them this weekend. It's going to be interesting though whether Perez can kind of keep that form going from Monaco, where he was the faster Red Bull all weekend. I think Max is going to come back fighting and take that. I think potentially it's going to be between the Red Bull guys this weekend, with Charles kind of, going for that back step of the podium. Watch me be wrong though. Everyone else, let me know your thoughts on the finishing positions for Baku. Here we go, Jared. Thoughts on Jack Miller joining KTM? As I said, I haven't followed MotoGP now for, it'll be quite a few years. Unfortunately, I've had to make some cuts with, life happening. MotoGP, I've got to watch some. And I just, don't quite get around to it. I'd have to admit, I don't know a lot of the guys in the field anymore. I really haven't followed it. So I'm not sure even how KTM are doing. They weren't even in the series. They were only talking about coming into the series the last time I watched it. So, they definitely, if anyone's a motorbike expert and wants to come on here and talk about motorbikes, drop me a line, definitely, because, more than happy to have a bit of a chat about it and find out more what's going on in the MotoGP, because it definitely is exciting. Okay, Graham, let's consider Ricciardo's situation. The press love the smell of blood. Should we really be concerned about Daniel, or is the press beat up? It's hard to tell. McLaren have come out and probably not been the nicest about him. It does look like from what I've heard, the option is on his side. Whether he wants to take up the third year of that contract or not. McLaren don't get to decide that. Obviously, there is options about paying him out. I can't remember if we discussed that on here last week or if I was discussing it with someone in person. But if they have to pay out a driver, I assume that's not going to affect their budget cap or anything like that. They seem to have a bit of extra money to play with at the moment. I mean, they're one of the... I think they want an increase in the budget without saying we need an increase in the budget. Obviously, Red Bull and Ferrari are going at hard. I think McLaren are pretty safe with money at the moment. So if they see that Dan is an issue, that they can pay him out of his contract to not race. I don't think, though, and unless you could sign Piastri, I don't see why you would want to move Dan on at the moment. I'd like suggestions, but genuinely, when you go through the field, Gasly's not going to do any better than him. Obviously, guys like Hamilton not available, Leclerc, Sainz not available, Max Verstappen not available. Who do you? I'm not sure if you guys can hear that dishwasher going in the background. Who do you pick other than Dan? Like, who would do a better job than what he's doing at the moment? Obviously, he's not gelling with the McLaren at the moment, but if you go, you would assume that anyone else kind of coming into that team would have the same kind of struggles to start off with. Buffy, will Baku have a driver not contending for the championship finish on the podium this year? Lance Stroll, he has a habit of getting on the podium at Baku. And, after that first year they were there and that F2 race that was out of control, we thought the Formula One, it's going to be nuts because the cars are bigger and all of that. And, it was a real boring race. But Baku has definitely thrown up some oddballs, even last year with Max's tyre blowout, and then Perez got his first win. It's usually thrown up some curveballs. So this is probably one of the few real chances where we could see some kind of odd result. I'm just trying to read the comments and go through this without boring you all. So, too bad he didn't say it Red Bull. I assume we're talking about Carlos Sainz instead of not Dan. It's funny now when you think back, like Carlos could have actually ended up with that Red Bull seat when Dan left if he didn't jump to Renault. And then Dan's kind of followed him along with the bad decisions. So maybe we'll see Dan at Ferrari next. Who knows? I can see why Dan wanted to make the move because the team was, and it is set up around Max Verstappen. Let's be honest. It is Max Verstappen's team, and Dan could see that writing kind of on the wall, and that's why he wanted to move on. Because his results were actually pretty close to Max's, and but did he want to be an Irvine or Barrichello where? Valtteri, where you just, you have to finish second to your teammate all the time because the team is set up around them. And I think Dan although he was taking a backward step, it was to be a team leader somewhere, which that definitely hasn't worked out for him at McLaren because, But I think with McLaren, it's probably a bit more of a case, not that, Dan's doing a bad job, but is Norris that good? Like, Norris, he it was with Alonso for his first year, I think, which he stacked up quite well. He got on top of Sainz. He's on top of Dan. Like, he could be in that top echelon. It's hard to tell at the moment, though. Is Dan doing a bad job, or is it that Norris is doing a brilliant job? Here we go. Jared, Oscar to Mercedes, Hamilton will retire. Yeah. A few weeks ago, I would have said Hamilton retiring at the end of this year could really be a very big possibility. I think the way they've kind of come on leaps and bounds, though, I think Hamilton will hang around another year to try and get the eighth to, put himself up and above Michael Schumacher. At the moment, he's only got 7. He's only matched Schumacher. I think he'll think that they can go for the championship next year. So I think he'll hang around for at least another year to go for that. And I think then, Alpine's got the hard decision that they've essentially got to cut Alonso to put Oscar in that seat. And that's the sad reality of it. Maybe Ocon should be the one getting the cut. So, Ron Smith, I miss Canada on the Queen's birthday long weekend. That was a very convenient one because Canada used to be the only one Canada and Brazil used to be the only ones at that real pain in the ass time, But yeah, I'd find all the Grand Prix are on at a pain in the ass time now. Even Japan, which is really good, it's on at 4 p.m. on Bathurst Day. So, I can't even watch Japan live. It's hard. It's nearly easier being an IndyCar fan at the moment because at least, what did the race start at 5:30 on Monday morning? But that's actually quite convenient for me because I basically get up at that time every day anyway. So, it's just a little bit late to work on Monday. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Graham, Saints have spoken to Daniel about the McLaren car. I believe Carlos thinks the McLaren had some weird car. I've definitely heard Sainz talk about that as well. I think, and essentially Norris has come in and he doesn't know any better. So, and Daniel should be able to adapt, but then, there's guys like Vettel who have never quite adapted to other things as well. So, it's a tough call, that one. AP Grand Prix, what happened to all your friends? I'm sitting here with all my friends. What are you talking about? You guys in the comments section. So I'm starting to lose my voice with all this talking. So essentially, Matt moved into a new house last week. I was actually surprised he made it on last week. They've been busy moving, and the idiots organised a holiday. They go away this weekend for, I think it's about 10 days on a holiday as well. So they're madly trying to set up a house and pack to go overseas while they have to sort out visas and vaccination certificates, PCR tests, all of that kind of junk. So unfortunately, time ran out for him on that. And Rob has started a new job. He started that last week. He's got some, the new job kind of learnings, I suppose. So he's stuck at work tonight, unfortunately. And for those, Trev, who I started this with, he has some complications with his job and doing things like this and shift work and things like that as well. So solo tonight, hopefully. We have more people soon. And if anyone kind of does want to join in on these live streams, I'm not saying obviously we have to have a bit of chemistry, and you probably need some motorsport knowledge, which if you are watching this, you're probably not too bad. But yeah, I'm welcome to have some other contributors on here as well to take the pressure off everyone, because it is a big commitment to actually jump on something like this every week. Okay, Gibbo, Le Mans, heaps of factory-backed entries, Toyota, Peugeot, Ferrari, Porsche, Acura, Honda, and Cadillac, with BMW and Alpine also potentially. Yeah, are they all for the LMP1 or whatever it's going to be, or are some of these the secondary class? As well, I haven't been following this quite as closely, but I know I think this is the last year of the old LMP1 regs, and then it goes to that hypercar thing next year, doesn't it? It will be interesting, and we have seen, everyone was kind of jumping on the Formula E train a couple of years ago, and it seems that some of them have come off, and now they're moving towards that hypercar kind of thing. But you've also got Audi and Porsche probably going to join Formula One, so that will definitely strengthen that. Let's just hope Roger can do something and get a third manufacturer in IndyCar, so that we, there isn't kind of the fight each year to get those 33 entries for Indy like we had this year. And Mean Beanie, yes, people watch IndyCar. Seriously, if you haven't watched it, you should definitely give it a go. Monaco weekend, I got up. I went to bed early that night, got up early. I was definitely watching the Indy 500 before I was watching the Monaco Grand Prix. That was top of the importance list. And I've actually found myself, like, on other weekends, getting up on the Sunday morning and watching IndyCar qualifying before the F1 qualifying, because it's more exciting. Will Power won this weekend. I might even get into that a bit further on, but I'm quite enjoying answering these questions at the moment. But Will Power won from 16th on the grid. So, you can't quite predict. The top four guys all ran a different strategy in the race. So you didn't know how it was going to end, whereas Formula One, it's so much better this year, but we've had to put up with, 8 years of, how is Mercedes not going to win this weekend? And then they went and won everything for eternity. Okay, the races in the America or around there are terrible time-wise in Australia. Since I've got older now, though, I find those 11 p.m. kind of Grand Prix start times are really, really difficult for me, because it's ridiculous, because I've always got up early for work pretty much. But nowadays look at me, I need beauty sleep a lot. So it's I'll go to bed earlier and then get up earlier and watch the Grand Prix. So those 4 o'clock ones actually aren't too bad, because that's kind of the time I find I get up for most of the European races these days. Bronsmith, yeah, IndyCar, fantastic, great drive by Will Power. That I was blown away, and the way Will has changed his attitude this year, he's just come on leaps and bounds. The old Will Power used to kind of, he'd fall in a heap essentially when things didn't go his way. This year he's like, I qualified 16th. Let's go and win the race anyway. After Indy, he finished 15th or something at Indy, and he just went, I'm happy with that result. Whereas previously that would have got him down and really dragged, and he just went, well, the car was crap. I finished 15th. That was the best we could do. So it's great. He's back in the lead of the championship. Yeah, I've been waiting a long time because the last Will Power championship was in the having Foxtel days, so I didn't actually get to see him win that championship. So it's been a long wait to actually watch Will Power win a championship. Andrew, used to be addicted to Indy, Vassar and Zanardi. Those, I think you can actually go on YouTube and watch some of those old races, like around that anything from kind of, I suppose, that 90, probably 95 through to about 2001. The races were amazing. Some of the thing, especially Zanardi and Montoya, really lifted that whole game of IndyCar to where you had to be on every weekend. Whereas previously, if you could, win a couple of races and be there or thereabouts most of the year, you were in the hunt for the championship. These guys just came in and changed the level to where you had to be, top 10 every weekend and winning multiple races rather than, one or two to kind of get yourself in the championship hunt. Me. I saw a few races when McLaughlin did his races at the end of. I did. Yeah, I try and convert as many people over to IndyCar as possible because I really enjoy it. I did have a gap in there where I didn't watch it. The split really did a lot of damage, so especially in those mid-2000s. And we didn't get television of the IRL here, so that made it a lot harder to watch. So, yeah. But if you can get into it, and there's a lot of things I think that IndyCar does a lot better than supercars and Formula One do. I think some of their qualifying rules and things like just little tweaks, the safety car rules and that they do it a little bit for the show, but they're a little bit. I think they're more focused on safety than what some of the other categories are, even though they are on more dangerous circuits. But yeah, they do some of their safety things really well that the other categories should be looking at. Shane Van Gisbergen at Le Mans. How is he doing? Because I'd love to see him going for outright, but he's just in the GT3 category, isn't he? Which, yeah, it is what it is. I can see him doing more of this. A lot of people are talking about what if he goes overseas like Scott McLaughlin did. I can't see him. I think he'll do these one-off site Le Mans, and that'll be it. Nice merch. Are you a BJR or a Walkinshaw fan? So, I've nearly run out of hats as well, people. Do I go and buy more or do I start rotating them? Okay. Boovy, Toyota win at Le Mans. They haven't got any other competition at the moment, do they? They're the only, really the only LMP1 team. I think there's a few. Why? Does anybody know how this Google search thing? It keeps going off on the phone for no reason. Anyway, that's a computer problem. Maybe I should go and see the IT department at work. Let's not get into that tonight. Beanie, in terms of start and finish times, I find MotoGP is best. Yeah, they used to be about like a 9 o'clock start or something, didn't they? And they were only, kind of 45-ish minute races, which is a lot better for the intentions fan, I can tell you. But unfortunately, a lot of the time they do kind of fall on, Formula One weekends and things like that. Or like some weekends, I actually find I nearly get a little bit of a motorsport overload while, you sat here trying to take notes on the racing, paying, extra attention to everything. And it just, sometimes I'm a bit like, I just want to, go and watch a movie or a series or something rather than kind of more motorsport. So that does make it, where MotoGP got a bit of the cut on that. Okay, Graham, speaking of adapting, Scotty Max said he had to unlearn some of his driving techniques. Yes. You definitely get some bad habits, and I suppose we all do it, especially like at work and things like that. I know I've worked in kind of production and things like that, and machinery doesn't work properly, and you kind of, you work around it, which is a similar thing you would learn, not bad traits, but you'd learn how to get the best out of a supercar, which isn't the same as getting the best out of an IndyCar. And then obviously you've got guys like Vettel who he could drive the pants off that Red Bull with its exhaust blown diffuser and that. You saw the turnaround when they banned it, I think, was it 2012? And then Webber went on to win like 3 races and then they got it back. And then Vettel just went back on his kind of domination stream. So yeah, there's definitely some habits that you need to learn and unlearn when you're jumping between different categories. And that's what makes someone like, say, Shane Van Gisbergen extra special, the way he jumps in between different categories and he's kind of on the pace. Obviously, McLaughlin has done it to an extent, but not that kind of jumping in between. And then the fact him not wanting to come back for Bathurst a bit, whereas I think Shane Van Gisbergen, if he was in that situation, he'd be like, yeah, I'll come back to Bathurst, I'll do a drift event, and then we'll do some rally and whatever, and then I'll go back and win at IndyCars too. So, okay. Is it said that Mario Andretti is the greatest racing driver ever because he could jump into a different category and win? I rate Mario, although I never saw any of his racing live. I rate Mario extremely highly whenever anyone talks about like his Formula One record. Only one world championship. It's not as good as a lot of the other guys in there, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, Hamilton and Schumacher, they're the best because they've won the most." Mario was amazing, and the fact that even like he gets in that two-seater these days and still drives the balls off it. There was a joke about Marco, Mario, and Michael, doing an endurance race together, and Mario's attitude was Michael's too fat to do it. It wasn't like I'm too old or anything like that. It was Michael's too fat. And that just gives you an idea of he is something very, very special. I definitely put Mario in kind of a top 5 of all time, just with that versatility. Okay, Vassar and Zanardi. It was more Zanardi at Laguna Seca passing Herder. So that was unbelievable, that pass. I remember screaming it. And I quite like Colton Herder, but for some reason Brian Herder didn't like him at all. So when Zanardi did that pass, I was over the moon. The rest of the house knew about it, I can tell you that. Vassar, he ended up having a couple of goes because he was there when Montoya won it. Ganassi actually ran 2 cars that weekend, believe it or not. Zanardi would have been something special. I'd imagine he would have come in like Montoya did and kind of showed them the way. Graham. I can actually, I'm not sure if it's coming across, but I can actually feel my voice getting a little bit sore. I don't think I've... there we go. I don't think I've talked this much straight for, probably forever, to be honest, because, I'm usually the quiet one who lets other people do the talking. So that is the big problem with Indy at the moment. Stan is an expensive investment when you think we've got a deal. So I think we're paying like $10 a month for KO. And granted, I'm watching Formula One and supercars on it, but I do have people in the house that, watch the AFL, and I think the MotoGP and that is still on it. KO, extremely worth it. Stan, it's costing us $29 a month at the moment because you've got to sign up to the big plan or whatever, the HD plan, and then you've got to get the sport on top. You can't just sign up to the normal cheap plan. And to be honest, I'm watching a TV series on there now. It's nearly just to try and get some money's worth because, IndyCar's the only thing I'm watching on there. I mean, the TCR and that. I think I've made my thoughts about the TCR and that pretty clear. Everything was on free to air back in the old days. Sorry about that. The only thing now is you have got that option of watching it when you want. And the way with social media and everything these days, it's very hard to not find out results essentially before you watch something if you don't watch it live. And I know IndyCar back in the old days, Channel 10 had it, and I think it was either like 11 p.m. or possibly even midnight on Monday nights that you had to wait for the coverage of it. So essentially, it was a lot easier back in those days. As I said, we didn't have social media and stuff. But yeah, in case something spectacular happened, you did have to avoid news and things like that. Which was quite frustrating for, I think it was about 18 rounds a year, like say 18 Mondays, you really had to be on it. So I do, that is one bonus, I suppose, a little bit. You kind of pay for these, but you do have that option of, get up on Monday morning and you can watch the race, whereas previously you had to wait until the Monday night. $35 just for motorsport. Stan, I'm pretty sure we're paying about 29, and then I think it's 10. So we're paying $39 essentially just for motorsport. But then when you think the enjoyment I get out of it, even $40 doesn't go a long way these days. I mean, you can't even buy a slab for that these days. So, and you wouldn't think twice about, going through a slab a month. So that's kind of, for the amount of enjoyment I get out of it, I'll complain until the cows come home, but I'll always pay it because, I value my motorsport very highly. I hear interesting. Maybe Vettel won't be on the grid next year, so that's why he's saying I'd prefer to go to Bathurst. The Spa 24 Hour. What about who's got Le Mans as well this weekend? I think that's on stand too. I have the early Foxtel days. I did sit there and nearly watch most of Le Mans. One year it was the David Brabham win. So I can't remember what year, but in the Peugeot, that was a long day. The good old days of 10, the home of motorsports. Yes, it was really good the way 10 kind of jumped on board with all of that. It was definitely good having it all in one place. They had pretty good presenters all the way through. Like Bill Woods was the host for a lot of it. You didn't get people complain these days. You used to get Alan Jones and Darrell Eastlake presenting the Formula One on Channel 9. For those who remember those days, Alan Jones, brilliant driver and whatever, but I don't want to hear about how awesome he was at Williams for like half an hour before every Grand Prix. Tell me the news that's actually happening and, for Formula One rather than how awesome you were. And, he's excitable, but he's not a motorsport commentator. So there we go. Stand is $29. Okay. Yeah, we got some special Telstra deal for the KO. So I think we're at like $10. We got some good deal on it, which then I think they re-offered it to us again. So we're sticking on that deal for as long as possible because I don't mind leaving it on for the whole year as well if it's kind of $10 a month. It's not. Stan will be getting cut as soon as the IndyCar season is over. So there you go. Any more questions? It's there we go, Booby. It's $15. I'm not too sure if we had some real weird deal where originally I think it was like $5 and then for a few months then it went up. So, Jared Rigby. Hi, Jared. I haven't seen any comments from you before. Well, financial, it's going to be better for the team. It'll be this week, which I will go into this more in my video. Obviously, they've had a bit of an internal reshuffle there because one of the cars is not doing so well. Obviously, I think it's overall for the team, it's a good thing because Ford is going to put in dollars, whereas GM or whatever we're going to call them next year, they're not putting any money in towards the team at the moment. So more money for them is only better because it strengthens another team, which, now there is getting to be a few teams with a bit of dollars, even like Premier, if Zibiris's talk about how much money he's going to put into that team actually eventuates. There's a lot of strong teams out there, which hopefully it doesn't mean that some of them lose the interest within a couple of years because they're not winning every weekend. But yeah, I think it's probably a good thing. It will be interesting though, because the Ford lineup is looking very strong next year as opposed to the General Motors lineup. So here we go, Graham. Free-to-air is cheap, but it sucks. Just watch Indy on Sound and see how many times MS. Yes. Yeah, at least when the stand live or, live, no ad breaks or whatever, there is the ad breaks, but at least they just show the raw feed with no commentary during the ad breaks. So that used to be very hard to watch, especially the IndyCar races, because they used to have a lot of ad breaks in them back in the old Channel 10 days, which wasn't them. I think it was ABC back in those days. Yeah, they would have a lot of ad breaks in it. And even in Detroit this weekend, you knew the cars, I can't remember exactly, but say it was going to be 25 laps on the tyres, or like say it was 75 lap race, they were doing 2 stops. So you're going to stop on like lap 25 and lap 50. And they cut to an ad break on like lap 24. And then you watch the cars start to come into the pits, and you're just like, yeah, it didn't matter for us because we still got to see the pit stops, just no commentary. But you just thought, who's directing this thing? Because blind Freddie can see that there's going to be pit stops in a minute. Have it at lap 20 or whatever, or wait until lap 30. So, Fisher Gibbo, Bullwoods. Barry Sheen was a classic. It was sad that he left us too early. But yeah, he was excitable like Darrell Eastlake, but he had a lot of knowledge. So yeah, good old. It's the same for NASCAR on Foxtel. What's the same as NASCAR on Foxtel, Boogie? This will be my video next week, but I think it's probably better than the normal everyday livery on it. I think I might have to do a back-to-back picture to make full judgment on that. But the original, I thought Red Bull probably not so happy with it. Ampol probably very happy with it because, the Ampol really stands out on it while the Red Bulls kind of gets a bit lost in the paint job. But I looked at it very quickly tonight. When I got home from work, and then I went for a bike ride, and it's Thursday nights can be really busy sometimes. So, Blanche, as far as I know, all of the Ford teams will be receiving Ford money next year, including the Blanchards. I don't think they currently do, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be like, here's $1. Now we're giving you money. Or whether it is actually going to be, kind of like, obviously Tickford, maybe, you're running 4 cars, so you get 400 grand. Blanchard's, you're running 1 car, you get 100 grand or something like that. But yeah, apparently all of the Fords will be receiving Ford money next year. Ron, do you think this pay-per-view will hurt support for motorsport in the future? Yeah, but I think my hope with this is that a lot of people, and I do know some people who are kind of Drive to Survive fans who have kind of jumped on board and are actually starting to watch Formula One, and then trying to, hey, well, why don't you watch supercars, or why don't you watch IndyCar, and trying to get them into, more motorsports. I think it might, there will become a point, I think, where like with Stan taking on IndyCar and things like that, but it won't so much maybe a sports package. You have you get Formula One with your Netflix subscription without having to kind of pay extra on it. I think it's going to kind of go down that route. So you'll probably then go with the subscription service that has the sport that you watch, more than, say, having like a KO, which is a dedicated motorsport subscription thing. Graham, Mercedes say they've stopped the porpoising but has still not found the magic bullet. It'd be interesting to see what they're like this weekend, because they had a lot more speed in Monaco. You can't really. But they had a lot more speed in Miami on the Friday that disappeared on the Saturday. But I think they still had a fair bit of porpoising even with the speed there. Winter Nationals. That's... The races are too short for me. They are spectacular, but the races are too short for me. Jared, thoughts on the Indigenous liveries? As I said in the video this week, I'm not against them or anything, but I don't think that it should be a forced thing, because now that everybody has to do it, it feels like, they're a bit like, we've ticked the box that we had to do that kind of thing. Like, at Bathurst, they put I was going to say Super Cheap Auto sticker on the car, but, you put that special Bathurst sticker on the side of the car and, we ticked the box. We've put the KO thing on the rear window and the Dunlop and the other series sponsor things on there. We've got to do an Indigenous livery, tick that box. It felt more genuine, the teams doing it over the past few years, where, and that's, I'm not against it or anything, but I would just prefer it to be like a genuine, the team, we want to do this, a bit like with the retro round, where they have a bit of fun with it, rather than, you have to have a retro livery. I think it should be an optional thing, and that would make it more genuine, really. Jared, Tim Blanchard said they aren't. Is that for next year, though? Because from what I've heard, it's changing next year, because I'm not sure if the Groves don't really get anything. So ads during the race. I've forgotten what the original question was there. It's the same for NASCAR and Foxtel. So are they Foxtel ads, or is that from NBC or whoever it is that covers the NASCAR? We've got a few Speed Week fans. Yeah, is Speed Week still going on SBS? So here we go. Bathurst was real good for ads. Run them heaps before the race and then every half hour during. Yeah, it was funny because I think the first couple of years with Foxtel, they had to run the ad breaks during Bathurst because of the anti-ciphering stuff. And you're like, like it just made Bathurst really hard to watch. When you got so used to watching stuff without ads and not missing any of the action. And then I think they ran picture-in-picture maybe for a year or something. And then we went to the no ads thing. But you could tell in the commentary when the ads were coming, because they'd have a break in the commentary and then they'd start again. And then you could tell when they come back in, and the whole time you're like, oh my God, like imagine trying to watch that on free to air when you've missed kind of all of that action in there. So I'm glad. Yeah, I'm happy to pay the Foxtel charge or the KO charge to not have to worry about the ads, especially in something like Bathurst. Was quoted in auction today. Oh, really? Because what I heard was that everyone, including Blanchard's. But maybe they were quite wrong on that. If that's direct from Tim Blanchard saying that. So that is actually disappointing. I can probably see why Ford aren't doing it because, who cares? Sorry to say that, but it's only a single car team. They're not doing like what Shane was doing when he was at Techno, when that was a single car team. The results they've had some flashes, but so I can see it. I'm a little bit surprised though that they're not at least tipping in a little bit as a token kind of thing. Max Jones, the WAU wildcard at Bathurst. Well, it's not really. It looks like it's going to be a Matt Charter thing with a bit of help from WAU, essentially using their spare car. So, and I don't think they've got a fourth car sitting there. This is the one that Jada's been running for his sprint race wildcards. So I don't think they've got an option of running an actual wildcard for themselves. Yes, right. The old truck racing, that was very exciting. Jared, how do you think the Erebus wildcard will go at Bathurst? I think Richie will get back up to speed pretty quickly. Murphy, I'm expecting an Ingle-like kind of performance from him. If everything goes right, like it kind of did with the Feeney one last year, if the pace cars fall right and things like that, I mean, if the Erebus cars are on it that weekend, Richie's probably not going to be on the same level as Brody or Will Brown, but if they've got a rocket ship there, I think Richie could end up in the top 10 like Feeney did last year until he put it in the wall. But yeah, I'm disappointed that Richie didn't get a better run at it. I think he's one of those, kind of lost potentials with supercars. So yeah, we'll leave that one at that. Graham, PTV is the way the world is going. Free-to-air doesn't have the funds to pay for the rights anymore. That's pretty much it. The hard thing is, I suppose, talk about bringing like an ad version of Netflix in and things like that to try and keep the price down, and you're a bit like, are people going to lose interest? And it's very hard. There's so many streaming services. So obviously we've got Netflix. May not be a full. I might not be paying for the Netflix one, but we've got KO and Stan and Amazon as well. And then like the other day, I can't remember what it was. I thought, I'd like to watch that series again. I think it was it was Scrubs. I think. I'm like. I watched Scrubs again. That was a fun show. I think it was Paramount or something like that had it, and I'm like, so if I want to watch that one show, like I've got to then subscribe, and then do you go through and like cut some out, or just sign up to one of them for 3 months or something like that? It is very hard with all these. It was a lot more simple with the straightforward. You either suffered through free-to-air TV, or you paid for Foxtel. Nowadays, there's so many options. There we go, Bobby. Would you believe 2 hours of Speed Week on Sundays? It's Do they have that much to cover each week? Yes, I totally agree, Jared. It was a game changer going to Foxtel and having no ads. Is that the top 10 shootout one you're referring to, Ron? With the big guys or something coming up? Is that the one that you're? I don't think she's watching tonight, Graham. So I'd probably get told to. Actually, I don't think we've even got any. We'd have no option of lemon. We do have some honey. Yeah, I'd probably get told to get stuffed and do it yourself. So yeah, that's where we're at. 29 cars. Yes, Bathurst will have 29. We just need one more for like a magic 30. 30 sounds a lot better than 29, doesn't it? Yeah, watch this space. Yeah, I totally agree, Jared. Although I'd be quite happy if they kept that livery the whole way through. So, Andrew, I'm happy to pay for Foxtel. It's cheaper than airfares and race tickets, and that's probably with me a little bit. I've spent money elsewhere, kind of like rather than say you might cut back on going to a live event, or I always bought not a lot, but I've had a lot of team merchandise over the years and things like that, which I haven't bought much. I've bought a few Formula One kind of t-shirts and that, and obviously I bought some hats on sale recently, but yeah, I've you kind of look at it like I'll instead of spending my money on this, I'm spending it on just kind of following the series and things like that. So yeah, that's where we are. To avoid subscription streaming platforms, I just buy the show or movie on YouTube. Yeah. And how much of that is available, and does it actually work out cheaper? Because depending on how much you're using some of these streaming services, when you break it down, they're kind of not that expensive. Obviously, $29 a month just to watch IndyCar is, that's especially when there's only one race in a month. But yeah, like the KO thing, kind of what we're getting out of it. Yeah, it's not bad. Thank you, Graham. I don't think that's going to help me. Live NASCAR takes over Monday mornings. Cars really do go around in circles. So I don't get it. Yeah, NASCAR's not really one that I've ever got into. And back in the grand old days, when first getting a PC and things like that, there was the Papyrus NASCAR game. They did an IndyCar game first, and they did a NASCAR game, and yeah, the NASCAR game was kind of leaps and bounds ahead of that IndyCar 1. Then they did IndyCar 2 later. So somehow we've got onto games again, and Matt's not even here. But yeah, I played the shit out of that NASCAR game. I can't remember the tracks now, but I knew all of it. And there's so many of those 1.5 mile ovals or whatever. I remember Charlotte was kind of the D-shaped one, and Michigan was a big flat out one. Probably also Michigan because they use it in IndyCar, and Bristol. Obviously, there was Watkins Glen as well in that game, and Sears Point, it was called at the time. I'm trying to think what they call it now. But anyway, yeah, and, you'd go through and do your whatever 38 race season in it and things like that. And, yeah, I would play the crap out of that game. But, yeah, I never got into NASCAR other than kind of playing the game. I did. I have oat milk cappuccinos, thanks, Gibbo, and I can't afford Smash Davo. Yeah, I don't. I'm not a big fan of avocado. Yeah, a lot of people think that's strange these days. But yeah, but I do. Because I have issues. I am. If you have issues and you're on almond, give oat milk a try, because yeah, it goes leaps and bounds better. Yes, I did try and watch it a bit when Ambrose started over there. I just couldn't. And being like a HRT fan at the time, Ambrose, he was the enemy. So yeah, when he went away, that was great. So I did try and follow him through the media and that, but I found it. couldn't watch the races. So, Boovie. Yep, I was lucky enough. My first computer was a Pentium, so yeah, I could play NASCAR quite well, actually. So, Ron, have you got into iRacing? No, I have not, because a few reasons. Time. I have seen a few people playing it, and fuck, that really takes a bit of time investment, and then also I'd get carried away. I mean, the amount of money I spend on push bikes and things like that. I'd want the best steering wheel and things like that as well. So definitely I'd have to make some cuts otherwhere in other places. I'd probably have to really seriously downgrade my everyday car and things like that if I got into iRacing. So yeah, I haven't. Gibbo, do you drink almond milk? I have issues with dairy, so which has actually come on later in life. You all probably you don't care about this, but I had some issues with dairy that have come on later in life. So I've had to look for substitutes because sometimes you don't just want to drink black coffee all the time. Sometimes you want a little bit of smoothness, and oat milk to me, absolute game changer. I'm trying to think of the brand. It comes in the blue carton at the coffee shops and that, not the minor figures one that they get in the supermarket. That is garbage. There's a blue one in the coffee shop. The good coffee shops have it. It's a blue square kind of carton. Yeah, give it a go if you are an almond milk fan, because I can't say how good it is. Every now and again you go somewhere and you've got to have an almond milk and you're like, it's just a little bit disappointing. The oat really gets the flavour of the coffee good. So yeah. How progressive of me. Well, as I said, it's I either have to drink black coffee or have problems. So yeah, that's where we are on the substitutes. Boovie giving me crap about the dairy substitutes. A bit of a private conversation going on in here. Here we go, me Benny. I'm on the soy milk. Can you try something else? Because I've tried soy milk and that was hard work. With the soy, I just went, I'm going to drink this black. So there we go. I haven't even got I've got this is where I got the idea from the mugs. It's not showing. Mum did us these mugs the other Christmas, and I went, "Hey, where did you get those mugs made up? Because they're actually really good quality." So Graham got one of my the Supercars Talk mugs. So I've got one at work, but I don't have one at home. So I really should sort that out, shouldn't I? So I had a heap of notes for this week, and it's been really good with all the questions. We're just over the strict 1 hour time limit. What have we got, Ron? iRacing only cost. I did. I'm trying to think. Someone did a video. I'm trying to think of his name. Aidan Millwood, I'm pretty sure it was, did a video on kind of what it costs to get you set up on iRacing and that. It wasn't that bad if you're actually you're very smart about it and buy like the packs and things like that. But yeah, I can see it really kind of getting carried away with the cost, especially like I would have to upgrade my computer, and the cost of video cards and things like that these days is out of control. Then I need, I'd want to get. I had an old Logitech steering wheel and that, but I'd probably want to go for something a bit better for iRacing, because I've heard that makes a big difference in that game. And yeah, it would quickly add up to $10,000, I reckon. So Graham, who will win this weekend? We're talking Formula One, or are we talking IndyCar? So Formula One, I think it's. Here we go. Ahmed, Max, Sergio, Nando. I'm going to put what's the name? Charles in for third. I think they're just going to be off the pace of the Red Bulls. Hopefully something exciting happens. So, but yeah, I think it'll be a pretty much straight Red Bull Ferrari fight with then the other guys kind of probably Mercedes and then the other guys kind of picking up the scraps. I don't think we're going to get onto e-scooters tonight because I did actually watch the highlight package from round one and I'm not sure how we got onto that. And who's the guy who's normally on who's into the e-scooters as well? Because he changes his name every week, so I'm not sure who it actually is. But we obviously heard Matt wasn't coming on, so no e-scooter talk. So what do we got? Andrew, Max, Charles, Sergio. Similar to what I said, but a little bit different, I suppose. Thank you, Graham. I think I have too. I do have a sales meeting tomorrow morning, which might be interesting with no voice, but hopefully I don't have to talk too much in that. Because I'm only a lowly person in the group. So, I don't have to do much talking in there. Yes, Mr. F1 Hat Simulator. I don't know who that is. Are you actually hiding tonight with a proper name? Is it who's a new question asker that's been? Is it Jared Turner? It's someone new who hasn't been on here before. Thanks, guys. I think it's gone pretty well actually. Considering I was a bit worried. I have got notes this week as well. We actually have started to set this up semi-professionally, and I haven't really had to go through. I've got all sorts of news stories that we could have talked about, and we've just gone through questions, which is really good. So here we go. A funny story about my internet last week as well. To make matters worse, because sometimes with great network at work, I have to where you go off the phone, hotspot off the phone. So last week when I had all of the trouble with the internet here, I was like, well, bugger it, I'm going to hotspot off the phone, forgetting that my phone was connected to the Wi-Fi within the house. So I hotspotted off the phone, but the phone was dragging the Wi-Fi off there. And I'm like, well, how come the internet hasn't got any better off the phone? Because we got 5G here. So the internet is actually really good on the phone. It's quicker than the NBN. So, I'm like, that's strange that's not working properly either. Dickhead me forgot I've got to turn off the Wi-Fi before I do that. Whereas at work, because I don't have the Wi-Fi password at work, so I can't connect. So I just, when I hotspot at work, I'm on 5G. So yeah, it's that was a bit of a stuff up, but we did make it through last week, and you didn't have to look at my face all the way through. So some people would say that was an improvement. So, there we go. It's good to see you. Do you watch them afterwards or anything, or it would be difficult, I think, to just watch these afterwards when you can't kind of contribute with the questions and that. But yeah, so there is some people that do watch them afterwards, which is really good. If you have noticed, I have I've taken them off the main channel, and obviously I'll be streaming them to the main channel as well. But I am just leaving these for later watching on the Backseat Drivers channel as well. So, how is the new house build going? Well, for those in Victoria, don't stress. We are with the builder that's having all the trouble at the moment, which it appears to just be a cash flow issue from what everyone's saying. We have got the slab down but it's come to a grinding halt at the moment because apparently they can't get any steel. So I work in the building industry, so I know how bad it is. We actually don't have an issue getting products at the moment, but we're we're in a bit of a different position to some others, but we have massive labour issues and that at the moment. Lead times are blown out, things like that. So the house build is it's stagnated at the moment. While I've been told July we will have the frame will be going up. My wife is she's optimistic and she's saying 1st of July we'll have the frame up. I'm being pessimistic and saying if it's up by the 31st of July, I'll be happy. I think we're still in with half a shot of getting in before Christmas, if we can get the frame up in July. But yeah, I've been told don't hold my breath for Christmas. So, but at least it's progressing. So we've got some action at the moment. Here we go, Jared. There we go. Thank you, Jared. So you're not a normal subscriber or anyone. That's it's good. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. We're here. Normally, I've got some co-drivers with me as well, so that's why it's backseat drivers. We've been going quite well. We've had 3 of us the last couple of weeks, but yeah, unfortunately, it's a little bit light on tonight. You've just had to put up with me, which it's good that my internet has worked tonight when it's just me by myself. Everyone needs to like and subscribe. That's what all the YouTubers say. Probably don't push that enough, actually. I'm nearly at 2,000 subscribers. So if you've got friends or whatever, who cares if they're not watching the video? Well, actually, I do care a bit if they're not watching the videos because I see all these channels. They've got like 3 million subscribers, and then the views will be like 10,000 on a video. And I'm like, how the hell do you? Well, my subscriber to view ratio is actually pretty good when you look at it on YouTube. But yeah, I just psychologically, I'd like to hit that 2,000, just, knock off another kind of a landmark achievement. So if you recommend this to anyone, or if you're not subscribed, please, then you will get notifications about these videos as well. Don't ever click the little bell and all that, all the usual YouTuber thing. I don't like pushing that kind of stuff a lot because there is a certain motorsport one and they're like 3 seconds in the video. If you like this video, click like now and subscribe and all this. And you're like, hey, calm down. Let me watch the video and let me decide whether I want to subscribe in that. And I do watch a lot of their content, but I deliberately haven't subscribed because of the way they kind of push that down their throat. They've got massive backing and, they've got a million subscribers or something. But that's not the way I don't kind of run it that way. So yeah, but it would be nice to make the 2,000 soon as well. We're just at the moment we're trying something a little bit different, a bit more looser, I suppose, and covering all motorsport. Although my knowledge is pretty much just supercars, F1, and IndyCar, so that's kind of where the topics kind of head in that direction. But yeah, as I said, if anyone has kind of other views and follows other sports and would like to get on and talk about it, we are open to having more people on and contributing a little bit more. So as I said, it is good. And then when other people aren't available, if, someone else can jump in and, have a few extra and takes a little bit of pressure off everyone. So that's the aim overall. There we go. It is true. There are both labour and supply. Definitely. Yeah. So we for my company, we have big supply issues at the moment because we haven't got enough labour. So we're probably in a position where we could produce more if we had more labour, but yeah, we cannot find people. So it's just it seems to be across the board. And then I know of a lot of other companies that are really struggling to get product, which some of it's probably their own making, where they've heavily relied on imports, and now the importing process is a lot harder. we've probably been a little bit lucky in that we've definitely been a big supporter of local market. Not to say we import certain products and that, but we're in a reasonable position at least. So here we go. Buffy Le Mans entries: 5 hypercars, 27 LMP2, 7 GTE Pro, 20 GTE M. So the 5 hypercars, is that 3 Toyotas and then 2 someone else's? And are they actual hypercars, or are they? Because the Toyota still looked like an LMP1, not an actual hypercar. Anyway, there we go. Maybe time to update my video listings on the supercar products. There's more to... Yes. So how this all kicked off was actually that a mate of mine, I just got my GoPro and I was mucking around. I just built my shed and I was mucking around in there. And I actually started doing a bit of a blog. Believe it or not, I was trying to lose some weight at one point. And I started doing it. And then one of my mates, they're like, oh, you should do Formula One. And I said, no, there's heaps of Formula One, blah, 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 and whatever. And we, continued. And it's like, well, do a supercars video. And so I mucked around doing one of those. And then long story short, this is where we are now. So it was a bit of a joke thing to start off with. And it's turned into something at least. So I'm struggling. I'm going to have to call this soon, I think, because I'm struggling a bit with my voice. Here we go. Paid fake subscribers. I think there is a bit of that going on. There'd have to be, a lot of these channels would have to have a lot of inactive subscribers, or say channels that have been going for a long time as well. I think people are subscribed but don't actively watch stuff anymore. Because some of these channels, like, they have massive subscriber base, and the videos. Obviously, there's guys like Mighty Car Mods, where like their subscribers are off the charts or whatever. But you watch a video of theirs, like 3 hours after it's put up, and they've already had 1 million views or whatever. Like, it's their stuff's insane where you think where they came from. But there is a lot out there that the subscribers seem to be odd for how many views they're getting. There's a timber shortage, yes, which, I mean, I'm not sure how much we're being fed a story. We've been told that timber actually isn't the problem for our house. The issue is getting the steel. I assume we're having a triple car garage. Yay. Unfortunately, it's not for a car. It's for a bike workshop and a gym, the extra space. But the option is always there later on if I can afford to get myself a toy car again. But I assume there's some steel beams going in for the extra size of the garage. But apparently timber's not the problem. It's then getting the steel and getting the actual chippies there to do the frame. So, whether that's a bit of a story or not, we can. Someone hire Montoya, the fastest car at Le Mans, so he can win the. It would be funny if he did sign up with Toyota at like Alonso did for his, and if Montoya actually got that Triple Crown, that would be hilarious. Considering Alonso, he was really going to go for it. So, Lamborghini. I haven't been following it too closely. I do recall there's been a lot of announcements of people making the hypercars. So Lamborghini could quite be one of the brands. I'm not sure though, because they do. It's a bit weird the way the Volkswagen Group runs all of their programs, and that where now we've got Audi and Porsche coming into Formula One, probably doing separate things. So. I suppose them going into Formula One isn't going to stop Lamborghini, say, going and doing a Le Mans thing. So here we go. Yeah, so those Toyotas, they're still LMP1s, aren't they? And then the Alpine and the Glickenhaus are hypercars, are they? And then SVG's in his Ferrari. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, we've got a similar thing as well. Like our lead times aren't as bad as what they were at one point, but yeah, our lead times are yeah. they're not great at the moment, but it seems to be right across the building industry in Australia. So people are just starting to accept it, really. And thank you, Graham. I think I will call it around now as well, because my voice is struggling a bit. I need to give it a rest because, as I said, I do have a bit of a sales meeting in the morning, and I won't have to talk a lot in it, but I will have to talk. So we'll call it there. Thank you, everyone, for the comments and questions. It's definitely made my job a lot easier. I definitely know Matt is not going to be around next week because he's going to be out of the country, but hopefully Rob will be back. And yeah, we can continue, and I won't have to do all the talking. Yeah, and it might kill views for next week. But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next week.